Hi, my name is Antika Dunleavy, and I'm a licensed educational psychologist and board certified behavior analyst. And I have been working in the educational setting now for over 15 years. And during that time, I saw a need for a behavior tracking application. And so what I did was I created a web app specifically for educational professionals in the school setting that's easy to use. So easy that anyone can use it. General education teachers can use it, paraprofessionals can use it, psychologists, BCBAs, special education teachers. Um, that's so easy to use, and also it creates these great visuals that you can take to your SST or IEP meetings. You can include them into any of your reports, use them to help you analyze any of the data that you are taking. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the program here. When you log in, this is going to be your home page. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is come over here to Teacher Manager, and you're going to want to add a teacher. Come over here, click Add, and add the teacher. After you're done adding your teacher, you want to come to the Student Manager, and you're going to want to add a student. After you've added your student, you can then start collecting data. You have 5 different types of data that you can collect. You can either get there by this toolbar up here or on the side here. You can also start collecting your data. You have 5 different types of data: duration, interval, ABC, frequency, and anecdotal. Anecdotal is just a bunch of questions that you can fill out. They are drop down, multiple choice questions that you answer that create a paragraph. So you can easily cut and paste that into any of your reports. So if you're not collecting data specifically on a certain type of behavior, this is what you would use, for psych report observation. And then you have your 4 other types of data. So duration, so if anything is happening for an extended period of time, you would want to collect data using this tool. Interval data is if you want just a small picture of what's going on. This allows you to compare with peers during this observation, and it allows you to compare with peers for 2 peers. So you can compare what the student you're observing is doing compared to the other peers in the classroom. And then you have your ABC data. This allows you to identify the function of the behavior. This is used for your FBAs. This is used for if you're collecting baseline versus intervention data. And then you have your frequency data. And this is just your simple tallying of the amount of times the behavior is occurring during a particular observation period. And so if, for example, we're going to go through the duration data. This is an observation reminder that every time you are observing the student, to try to keep it at the same amount of time. So then that way, if you are using our create graph function and you're creating a line graph, that each bullet point is, each plot mark is the same amount in time. You're going to select which student you're observing and which teacher you're observing them in. And you're going to click new behavior. And then you're going to type in whatever behavior you're observing. So for me, I'm just going to select tantrum, and then I'm going to hit the start button. And then it's going to start the timer. And you're going to time for how long that behavior occurs. And then once that behavior is done happening, you can click end. But I'm going to keep it running because you can also add a new behavior. So if 2 behaviors are happening at the same time, you can collect data on both of those behaviors occurring simultaneously. And then you would also hit start. And then once that behavior is done, you want to make sure and click end. And then it will give you the duration there for how long that behavior occurred for. And then you'll click end again. And then you can add any behavioral details here. So anything that's going on in the classroom that you think is, crucial for your notes or for whoever you're taking this data for, that you can share with them. And this is the anecdotal form. It is available every time you take data in the other 4 different types of categories. So you can either choose to fill it out or you don't have to fill it out. And for this purpose, I'm not going to fill it out. And then I'm going to come down here and click end duration data, confirming that everything I've collected is true. And here is your opportunity to add any extra details. If you forgot to add them while you were collecting data and you want to go back and add them, you can make any changes. And then you're going to click summary, and it's going to give you a summary. And the great thing about the duration data collection is that there's this no maladaptive behavior. So during the time that you're observing, it automatically collects data on if the student wasn't engaging in any type of behavior. So then it gives you a real great visual of, the majority of the time he was acting appropriately. Again, you can print or export any of this data, but just by clicking this button. And I'm going to go back to dashboard and continue. So interval data, again, reminding you to collect data for the same amount of time. I'm going to click my teacher, interval type. You can do momentary, whole, or partial interval. I'm going to click which behavior I'm going to choose. So here you have a selection that you can choose from. And I'm going to click verbal protest. I'm going to do one peer comparison. I'm going to do this I'm going to do 20 minutes of observation, and I'm going to do 20-second interval links. So every 20 seconds, I'm going to look up and I'm going to see, is that student engaging in that behavior or are they not? So you're going to click start. You have your student here. Were they verbally protesting? No. Was the other student verbally protesting? No. And then you just wait till the interval ends. And then you are going to click start for the next one. And see, this one collapses, so it makes it shorter. And then you can say, yes, this student was verbally protesting at this time, and no, the student was not. And so you're going to do that every 20 seconds for that entire 20 minutes, and then it's going to give you a visual. So we're going to end here. I don't know what the visual is going to look like for us since we just did 2 intervals, but we will see. Yeah, so you can see that it compares the student that you're observing with the other peer in the classroom, and it gives you a percentage of what was going on. Now, if you'd rather have it be a bar graph, you can see. All right, and then now we'll go to ABC data collection. Gonna click your next student. You're gonna click new behavior. You can type in your antecedent, what just happened. We transitioned to recess. What was the behavior? Eloping. What was the consequence? What happened after the behavior happened? They were physically prompted by the instructional assistant. Did that stop the behavior? Yes, it stopped the behavior. So when you're filling out consequence, you have the option of clicking stopped versus no effect. So you fill out that the student was physically prompted or whatever the consequence was, and you then answer, did that stop the behavior? You would click stop. If there was no effect on the behavior, you would click no effect. And this allows the program to then analyze whether or not that consequence was effective or not. And then you can type in which subject that was, and that will also analyze the behavior for you of that particular subject. Was there a lot of behaviors during that subject versus other subjects? And then again, you can add behavioral details that you see, and once that eloping is stopped, you want to come back over here and click end. This is very important that you click end here. A lot of times that would be one of the things that people don't do. And so it's a good reminder during this video that I tell you to make sure to click end here in the ABC data collection form. And then we're going to come here in ABC. We're going to confirm. We have one behavior. We're going to click summary. And you can see that for no maladaptive behavior is here, and the majority of the time the student was eloping. And again, you can change what type of graph. If you would rather it be bar graph, you can have a bar graph. Okay, and then now we'll go back to our dashboard and we'll end with frequency data. And again, we're going to select the student and I'll start frequency data, new behavior, and we're just going to say the student screamed. And then all you're going to do is tally every time the student screamed during that time. And you can add multiple behaviors. You can add a new behavior. And you can say the student hit. and you just tally. It's so simple. And then at the end, you click end frequency data, you confirm. Again, this gives you the opportunity to make any changes if you need to, and then you go to summary, and then you have your summary form. And again, you can change it to a bar graph, 3D bar graph if you want for your visual. And again, print or export if you need. Okay, so creating a graph, this is great for any data that you collect and you're doing interventions for. And so what you do is you collect which report type. Do you want a frequency, duration, interval, or interval with peer comparison? So what type of graph would you like? Select the school year, the student, and then all those behaviors will automatically come up, and you will select all, or I will. The observation length was 30 minutes every time I observed, and I'm going to create graph, and then you can see your line graph is created. The great thing about this is if you did an intervention and you want to include that. So this is great for your BCBAs or anybody trying out an intervention. You've already collected baseline data. Now you're collecting data to see if it's changed the behavior. You're going to come in here and you're going to select your intervention start date. I have one I remember when I started this intervention, and I'm going to click create graph. And then what you can see here, whoops. Oops, of course it went all the way backwards. Here we go. Okay, I have to start all over. My apologies. I'm just gonna refresh here. Here we go. Here we go. Intervention start date. It was simple until I clicked the back button by accident. But again, it's very easy to get back to where I was. All right, so now you can see here is the intervention started line, and then you can see all the data behind the intervention started line. You can see that maybe this intervention wasn't that effective. All right, and then now the analyzed ABC data, you're going to select your student again and your school year and your antecedent, and we're going to do it in a bar graph, and we're going to create a report. And then it analyzes your antecedents by behavior and what antecedents for each of that behavior. And then you can also do it by effective consequences. So what consequences were effective? Let's create that report. Well, we see this one was more ineffective, but for touching peers, the consequences, the peers moved away, that was most effective. So the peers getting out of the way is most effective. And there you have it. So it's very easily analyzed. You can even do the ineffective consequences and run your report. And it will all be there for you to share in your FBAs or any of your reports. And so if you have any additional questions, or if I ran through this a little bit too quickly and you have any extra questions, just let me know. I tried to do this and make it as clear as possible. I had that one hiccup with me pressing the back button, so I apologize for that. But again, any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for your time.